Convinced that Jack would eventually marry her, Marilyn stepped up her rivalry with Jackie by making an extraordinary move. Hollywood's superstar and America's First Lady had a direct confrontation when Marilyn Monroe picked up the phone and called Jackie Kennedy.
She said to Jackie that Jack had promised to marry her and that, you know, she intended to see it through. And Jackie's response, I think, was rather clever under the circumstances. And one can almost hear them talking one to the other, and that both of them in that high whispery voice that they had, so that they sounded almost like sisters. And Jackie saying to her, well, that's fine, Marilyn, you'll marry Jack and I'll step out and you'll become First Lady and you'll take on all the responsibilities and you'll go to the state dinners and you'll travel to India and you'll travel to Ireland, etc., etc., etc. And I think Marilyn was more or less taken aback by Jackie's brashness and bravado.
But Marilyn was determined not to be stopped. On Thursday, May the 17th, 1962, she dropped filming in LA and flew straight to New York. In the grandest of gestures, Marilyn sang Happy Birthday to her lover at Madison Square Gardens.
Marilyn Monroe made a spectacular entrance swathed in white fur, and it dropped. And everybody thought that what they were seeing was Marilyn and the Altogether, because she was wearing a dress that she later described as skin and beads.
She came out in this gown which had virtually been stitched onto her. I mean, how she got into it is anybody's guess. I mean, it was practically sewn on. In fact, I think it was sewn onto her.
But Marilyn Monroe's public display of devotion had been too much for Jack Kennedy, and as ripples of gossip spread across America, he dumped her. Jackie had won the battle for Jack. The American presidency was not about to be sacrificed for a Hollywood star. At her wit's end, Marilyn threatened to talk to the media. Jack sent his brother Bobby to console her.
I happened to be there when a knock came at the door. Marilyn was in the shower. I opened the door and I go, oh my God. I couldn't talk. It was Bobby. I go, Finally, he said, could I come in? And oh yeah.
In a bizarre twist, Marilyn had started a short-lived affair with Bobby. But when he dumped her too, the actress's connection with America's first family finally came to an end.
She was terribly hurt. She'd been instructed that she was never to call or make contact with either of the Kennedys again.
Marilyn called Bobby repeatedly at the Justice Department.
In sort of a threatening way, she said, I'll try reaching him, but if I can't reach him by Monday morning, I'm going to hold a press conference and blow the lid off of this whole damn thing. And that meant she could tumble down the presidency very fast.
She had been warned by the Kennedys to, knock it off and stop. She was going to go public that she'd had an affair with the both of them. And I said, Marilyn, don't do that. These people don't play nice. And she said, well, it's the first time I ever heard her say this. I'm Marilyn Monroe. I'm going public.
But there were to be no public revelations. On August the 5th, 1962, Marilyn was found dead in her bed.
On more than one occasion in the past, when disappointed and depressed, she had made a suicide attempt using sedative drugs. On these occasions, she had called for help and had been rescued. From the information collected about the events of the evening of August the 4th, it is our opinion that the same pattern was repeated except for the rescue.
The coroner's verdict was suicide, although controversy continues to surround the circumstances of her death.
I learned from a senior law enforcement source that a crumpled piece of paper had been found in Marilyn's bedclothes, and the piece of paper bore a White House telephone number.
Whatever the truth behind the death of Marilyn Monroe, the tragedy brought her rivalry with Jackie to an abrupt end and damaged the Kennedys forever.
Marilyn was very angry with the Kennedys, and many people have wondered, did she want to get even with them? Well, obviously she did, because she did when she took her life, that was really the most destructive thing she could have ever done to the Kennedys.
Jackie Kennedy's rivalry with Hollywood's greatest icon ended in a hollow victory. Her name was destined to be forever linked with Marilyn Monroe, and only a year after winning her husband back, she lost Jack when he was tragically assassinated in Texas. Jackie Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe will be eternally remembered as two of America's greatest female icons. Jackie Kennedy will always be the epitome of class.
She was an enormous icon of style and glamour and grace and power in her own way.
And Marilyn Monroe, the archetypal screen goddess, will never die.
She just had something. She lit up the screen. She had a magic that the camera caught. And even the human eye couldn't catch that, what the camera caught on Marilyn. It was earth-shattering.